Coming up on today's episode.
At the Chinese spots, it was all Hispanic people, all immigrants. Can you imagine ordering like egg fried rice from a Mexican?
Welcome to the Melanin Movement, where melanin magic makes meaningful discussions. Join our all-family cast as we dive into hot topics and important issues for the Black community.
One of the hot button issues that I believe it was addressed, and Trump literally put it into every answer that he had, was immigration. And I want to first say that I love my dog, and ain't nobody over here eating them. So, according to Donald Trump, he feels that Joe Biden and his administration have basically unleashed all of the world's criminals into America, and how they're coming out of the jails and the prisons in their countries, and they're coming here and they're raising crime, they're raping women, they're killing people, and they're also eating people's pets. So, what say he?
It was fact checked, and all of what he said was found to be false.
Or he could have
Or
just built the wall like he said he was going to do, and and what he's calling a problem now wouldn't be a problem.
would have never have happened. However, Vice President Harris was put in charge of the border, and she was, as they say, the border czar. And there was a comprehensive immigration bill that was basically, it was bipartisan, and mostly everybody agreed, hey, let's pass this bill. But because of the fact that Trump wanted to run on the fact of the fears of the people and say, hey, hide your wives, hide your kids, hide your dogs, hide your cats. I guess it's the cats that J.D. Vance said that the childless women have. Anyway, but because of the fact that that's what he wanted to run on, a lot of Republicans within Congress killed the bill.
Makes sense. It's similar to what he said about student loans. He said, "Oh, they said they were going to forgive student loans." Well, you can't forgive something that y'all keep denying.
Mm-hmm.
When they present it, no. Same thing with Obama. He presents a ton of stuff. No. Could he executive order things if he wanted to? Sure, but that's not the way you do things.
Mm-hmm.
You want it to be written into law. You want it, you want it to be a bill that's passed, that's a part of the now Constitution.
So
Executive orders could be overturned.
You have to get a hold of this whole immigration thing. I mean, there's always going to be work to be done there. I mean, there's no way around that. You have no choice. I mean, how you do it, I don't personally really have a plan for how you do it, but I just know, like, hey, something has to happen. That's just
it's excessive. I think the New York, New Jersey area has we now understand what the border states have been feeling all this time.
But
you also can't put them on buses and send them to the vice president's house.
Well, right, because they were upset that we are a
sanctuary city.
So they put them on the buses here.
I mean, look, and I mean this with the utmost respect to everybody. Let's be honest here. I think in 30 plus years of having my parents pay somebody to landscape and all these other things, and folks in the neighborhood, you know who I've never seen doing it? White people. You know who I've never seen wash my car before? White people. Even if they own the car wash, they ain't the ones out there doing it. Like, yeah, I remember being in the countryest part of Pennsylvania. You know who was working at the Chinese spots? It was all Hispanic people, all immigrants. Can you imagine ordering like egg fried rice from a Mexican? Like how weird that looks. in central. So you in like the heart of like you in redneck city at the Chinese spot ordering Chinese food from a Mexican, and there's not a Chinese person in sight. How like, and this is what I'm saying, and this is for me personally. I remember I was in Long Island. I think I was visiting my parents. Went to the car wash and I was out there, and then I looked around and I was like, yo, and I really thought about it, like. When it came to all of the manual labor jobs that I've seen, I think the most common ones I see are contracting, some type of landscaping, which I mean, I guess falls into contracting in some capacity. You want to call car wash, whatever. I have never, there's only been one time that I can actually remember where I saw a black person that was cutting grass. He was Jamaican. It's always been in those businesses of manual labor 99% immigrants, and 99% of them are Hispanic. And to me, I'm just like, people complain about certain things, but these are the people who are doing the things and willing to do the things to
That you
find
don't,
themselves a good life that most
you
people
don't want
aren't
to
willing
do.
to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that means open up the border and just let
Yeah.
them run wild, but I am saying like at some point, like you have to give some kind of credit or respect where it's due. Like you can't try and like pit them against us and force people to choose sides and all this other stuff, because it's just like without them there's a lot of things that just don't function the same way.
And I saw something online. I saw a video of a business owner who did farming, and he was saying as a white male that he pays more because he has undocumented or documented people working for him, because he says that when he posts for the job and he puts the out there, he's like, most people don't want to be out in the hot sun. That's not something that they want to do. So he says he actually has to pay more in taxes because of who he gets to work. So I don't know how much this country would be without people who are here legally.
That's a
Well,
easy question.
sorry.
That's an easy Q&A right there, because the country's success is predicated on
Immigrants.
the work of people from other countries.
Yep.
The free labor
Yep.
for almost 400 years, you
You
know,
want to be out there tilling the farms and tilling the fields and taking care of your cattle and doing all that other stuff. Like it's
and a lot of
yeah.
times, most times when we were doing it back in the back, we was doing it with a whip. It wasn't just like we, at the end of the day, we go home to our families. No, let's not go there, because I
We're
always,
staying on.
yeah,
But
stay
think
on
about it.
topic. Stay
Even
on
if you
All
topic.
think
right.
of something
Yeah.
simple, old apartment buildings that you lived in, who were the people that were cleaning the building?
Mm-hmm.
Like in all of the apartments I remember being in, whether I lived there or not, I just don't remember seeing white people cleaning the building.
Mm-hmm.
It was always immigrants, black people, Spanish.
Sometimes the Russians. There was some like
But that's
Ukrainian, Russian.
but it's still an
Yeah,
immigrant.
yeah.
You know what I'm
But
saying? So
even
it's just like, to me, immigration's fine for them as long as it's the people they want coming across.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need immigrants, obviously, mainly because if you look at it from uh the context within economics, like the country as a whole, we don't produce anything anymore. We're service based.
Mm-hmm.
All of our exports are mainly entertainment. We produce pretty much nothing. There was a point in time where We were a heavily industrial country.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in the factories on the railroads were either minorities or immigrants, right? And those were your black jobs,
Mm-hmm.
right? So,
African American jobs.
Yeah, we changed to African Americans.
but now that those things have gone obsolete and we've outsourced everything,
Mm-hmm.
the concept of production can't even be conceptualized by, America now, because everybody's in suits and, you know, influencers and offering services, as opposed to, there's no more production in America comparatively to other countries, because every other country essentially works in-house. China, for example, they built like 3 hospitals in 10 days when COVID was.
China different. China different. Like Trump said something about Taiwan when Kamala talked about him trading chips to China. He was like, no, that was something with Taiwan.
I was just like, isn't Taiwan in China? That's what I thought, but okay. But
I need you to learn something. So, the healthcare plan, and this one is near and dear to my heart because of the fact that I be in the doctor's office 3-4 times a week, and having a good healthcare plan is imperative to my livelihood. You know what I'm saying? I am constantly on medication. I take medication up the wazoo every single day. And having a health plan that is not astronomical. These big pharmas are straight crooks. And being able to if they were able to negotiate prices on certain drugs so everything is not so expensive. You know what I'm saying? And Trump said that he was, they asked him, well, what's your health care plan? He's like, I don't have one yet, but we're working on something. We're working on a prototype. Yeah, we got a concept. We're working on the prototype.
So why didn't you get rid of Obamacare like you were going to? I have nothing to replace it with.
Nothing.
I was just like,
you had
and you
8
already know
years
what
of
he's going
Obama.
to replace it with is going to screw people over because pre-existing conditions ain't going to be covered.
mm-hmm.
Maybe conditions that you might have to wait 30 days or so or whatever before it kicks in, or like there'll just be a lot of stipulations with it. You already know that because it has to be beneficial to big business because that's his whole thing, big business. So healthcare is really tricky because I feel like you get 80% of the government budget goes to what education and healthcare, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's just hard because it's like you're not really in a position where you can make, I think, like an extreme change where it's you might say like, oh, we're gonna do like universal health care for people or whatever the case. I don't think you're in a position to make that kind of a drastic switch. So everything always has to be like incremental. Okay, we're gonna input something like Obamacare where we're gonna, make it affordable for people pre-existing. Like I think those are the little things, the little steps that matter. Like
I don't think
if I get
universal health care is the option. I'm talking about more regulating these big pharma companies that are literally raping the people that need the drugs that they selling.
this is what I'm saying. It's hard because those big pharma companies, one, like they control pharmaceuticals. They also control your food. They control everything else that goes into it.
It all is.
So what I'm saying is like, it's hard to get away. Like you would have to separate pharmaceuticals from the FDA, from the consumer, and then find a way to then integrate some different kind of system where now it's like, okay, healthcare is a standalone, the FDA is a standalone. You can't have like, well, as an example, Pfizer owns the Pepsi company and they all, what I'm saying? It just, it can't be, but they also own large cropping fields. And then here comes Bill Gates developing like, it just, It's too, and
it has to
everything is
be some
all,
type
it's
of way
all
to
about money.
regulate that.
It's all about money. So healthcare, I feel like we're too far gone on that to make like a major change on it. So I think everything has to be incremental, where it's kind of like you have to provide enough coverage, fair coverage for people. Like, working in health insurance, I've seen plans. Somebody has to pay for that. And it's just like, it's that bad. Like, so I mean, I don't know.
I need you to advocate for your sister. I need you to be the Martin Luther the King of healthcare for your sister, because these people is out here playing games.
The things that I have seen come across these boards in my desk, and I look at it like you have to ask. Like, I just remember standing in there and I'm just like, yo, I don't know if I'm the only one, but we really gonna offer this to people? Mind you, I left that company like shortly thereafter. Like, it's just one of them situations like, nah, I can't be a part of that. That's crazy.
But Ma, to your point, you're saying it has to be regulated. We was having this conversation the other day, and I kept trying to say the same thing. How much can you regulate within a capitalist structure? It's hard. That's what our country is founded upon. In the capitalist system, what's prioritized?
Money, money,
Profit.
money, money,
So if they ain't making the dollar,
money.
it don't matter.
And that's why, like,
It's the
to
dollar.
me, I mean, I guess it sounds so cliche, but for me, it's just like, gotta find good people to put in these positions who are willing. Like, I mean, obviously, there's amazing people out there. It's just unfortunate that a lot of them aren't politicians. But to me, it's just like you gotta find like the Westmores, or like I would consider Kamala one of them. Um,
I'm gonna need you to pronounce her name right.
Kamala.
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 I'm sorry, Kamala.
He's like, you
Yeah,
want
so
some chamomile tea?
okay. That's Uncle Willie Brown's girl.
But I remember it was a show, maybe it was the last one or the one before. I remember Chris saying that the whole system just needs to be tore down and
Yeah,
start.
we know that.
So
We know that, but that's not what we've been given.
I know, but I'm just.
To Noe's point, I think that there are very good people, some good people that get into politics for the right reasons, and they have the heart of the people, in them. But then when they get to the levels and they see the corruption and the snake, that's like when people be like, I just want to sing. I just want to sing. I just want to act. And then they get into these spaces and they see the nastiness and the demonic stuff that goes on behind closed doors. You just like, I just wanted to
You either end up walking out or you end up at a Diddy party. And you got to tell them no.
I think I was just gonna make a quick comment. I think it was Stokely Carmichael that said there's a vast difference between reform and replacement. Right? You can't reform our system. You're just gonna try to keep putting lipstick on a pig. Has to be.
And I agree, because this country was literally founded on the backs of people that they did not consider human. And then after all of these centuries that have passed, and now, quote unquote, we got the Voting Rights Act, we got the Civil Rights Act passed, and now all of a sudden we supposed to be equal out of nowhere, but we still have the Star Spangled Banner that we're singing. We still have a Constitution and the Declaration of Independence that was written.
This country was developed for white men.
White, period.
So everybody outside of that, I mean, obviously white women got it a little bit easier because they're attached to white men, but they're women. So it's just like there's so much inequality across the board as laws are made, as things are coming up, that like, and then once it becomes like, yo, it's about the bread, Now you mix the inequality, the immorality with got to get the money. Now it's just like whatever you got to do to get the money, you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel
Like
that
think
that's
about
how
the
Trump
idea.
he that's how Trump he positions himself, and how he has that white man founding father attitude, you know, like I just go in there, I tell him, hey Abdul, you know what I'm saying? He has that.
Which is the thing. Oh, she can't do it. They're never gonna. It's just like so. It's just like you think you could just walk around telling everything. You know what this makes me think about? Have y'all seen that Netflix movie that just came out, Rebel Ridge?
Not yet, no.
No.
Fantastic movie. It's like 2 hours long. It will make you like it's just like a microcosm of everything that we're talking about, just on I guess a smaller scale, but it applies. So basically, dude's riding into town. He's going to take care of some business. It'll. I'm trying to explain it without.
Is it like the beekeeper?
Not quite, because the beekeeper is more so like a assassin that goes around doing. He is just a regular guy, kind of.
Okay.
So basically, black dude goes down. I think he goes down south to look after his cousin. Everything that he does is I mean, he's a Marine, so he breaks it down in acronyms. So as things are going down, he starts talking to the chief of police, and he's just like, here's what you need to worry about. And this is where I think we are. He was just like, the acronym that you need to worry about is, I don't want to give it all away, is this, this, and this, and this. So he breaks it down like, this first letter was me doing this. The second letter was our conversation that, according to you, never happened. The third letter was this, and you took care of that. Now we're on this last letter, and I'm running out of letters. And it's like, I think Chris had brought up something like this where it was kind of just like a while back we had talked about it, and it was kind of just like it was something with chaos and emerge. It was just like you just gotta blow it all up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you kind of just said that now, but we had a little bit more of a conversation that when you watch the movie, it'll make sense what I'm referring to. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But at the end of it, I'm just like, this is where people are. And when I'm looking at it, like, I feel like we are on that last letter. And people are in a space where it's just like, we will do whatever needs to be done to like be good, which is why I think you see so much stuff that happens around the world.
Mm-hmm.
People are on their last letter. They are going to do whatever they need to do. They don't care who they got to step on to get it, but it's because you've been pushed to that point. And it
Push it
just,
to the
you just
limit.
have to watch it. Like when you watch the movie, everybody go watch Rebel Ridge. Go watch Rebel Ridge. Fantastic movie.
Gotcha.
Endorsement. Okay. So
The
last
main
but not
character is
least,
black too. That's why I'm bigging it up.
I kind of figured that.
As we were talking about earlier, it's like not knowing certain things or whatever, like preparation is so key. Like you can't change everything that's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? You can't, as Chris said, like you can't really reform it, but just being prepared, being knowledgeable, like even if it's just in your little space and bubble, I'm not saying you have to know everything, but just knowing how to move within your life and in your world will just, as opposed to just kind of going out there every day and winging it,
Mm-hmm.
can change a lot.
Educating yourself on how to deal with certain situations, and then being intellectually astute to where you can navigate in certain spaces effectively. You know what I'm saying?
If you think like we're brainwashed as people. Well, I shouldn't say brainwashed, but we're
No,
conditioned
we
to think
are.
things through. Because it's like
Brainwashed.
if you think about all the stuff that we talked about when you go from like healthcare to treatment to food to lifestyle, none of those things line up. The way you're taught that your lifestyle should be doesn't actually prevent any of those trips to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like none of it lines up. So it's impossible. It's like, how is it possible that this is not a factual statement? This is just an example. How can it be that Coca-Cola is the biggest investor in Memorial Sloan Kettering, but this is a cancer treatment clinic and Coca-Cola gives you all the money, or Coca-Cola and Pfizer do business. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Or how is it that, you know, some of these food companies and telecom companies are invested in prisons, private prisons?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You know,
there's
Does it
too
all
many
come
connected.
back
but
to
then
the
they
market?
have these things on prison reform, you know. But wait, aren't you?
It's big business. It all
Don't you make the bulk of your money by prisoners being able to call on your lines?
it's
But
all comes back to business.
And
so
so,
Okay,
and for me,
so
like, being prepared in those instances is one, obviously, the always just learning at least just the base level, I guess, rules of the government, how things work, the branches, who does what, knowing where you should vote, knowing when your primaries are, knowing when your local elections are, all that type of stuff. And then just paying attention to your own lifestyle, like understanding, like, look, bro, like, Pfizer doesn't care about you. They don't care about you getting well. It doesn't care. None of those companies care. The health insurance company, they probably don't even care because there's no money in your health, in you being healthy.
right.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you do have to be prepared and pay attention to what you eat. You kind of got to start reading the label. You got to see the keywords. You got to see what's hidden. You got to understand that natural flavor is not natural flavors. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you got to start somewhere. And to me, that's at the ground level of preparing yourself for how to move in the world, where you realize all this stuff is connected, and you're really only going to find the stuff once you start like preparing yourself and just getting there. So, I mean, you got to start somewhere, but I mean, starting with your health is the best thing. I know that's kind of like off topic, but I mean, again, you just got to start somewhere because you can't get away from it. So you have to learn how to maneuver within it.
But I
no, that
think
was needed.
but I think what you just said does tie into starting off at the local. Like, people don't understand how important it is to vote in the midterms, in the state stuff, in your city, because those are things that really impact you. Yes, the president is a thing, but who your representative is, who's your DA,
Who's your
your
judges?
judges. So I think that what you just said does make sense, because it's like you have to start there first.
But then your DA and your judge and your police chief can't, it can't be them working together, because how are you going to try a case that has something to do with the police, but yet you need the police endorsement to
Right.
win the election? So I mean, we can go down a rabbit hole with that. But I wanted to say that, and I'm only saying this to viewers that are saying, you know, I don't need to vote. My vote don't count. It don't matter if I vote. Whoop, whoop-de whoop-de whoop. During Reconstruction, the electorate was 96% Black men. We made up, I mean, well, I had put this in another video. Black women were not allowed to vote till the 1960s. Okay. However, during Reconstruction, Black men made up 96% of the electorate. And once they realized, oh, these mofos is actually trying to mobilize, then they started changing laws and going forward with the suppression tactics. And that's what they're doing today with the suppression tactics and gerrymandering. So they have the people that they want to vote for them. So it's imperative that you vote, because if your vote didn't count, then gerrymandering and suppression wouldn't be a thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's truly a thing. And it's getting worse and worse as, you know, time progresses. But so I really think that, you know, everybody should be registered, that can be registered, and vote in your local and presidential elections.
That ain't gonna happen.
I'm just
Well,
giving
think of
the
it this way.
information.
The president, you could have whoever the president is can let's say, propose a law that will give everybody $50,000 every month. It'll never happen if Senate, Congress, and all them other people in those other elections.
Mhm.
So, like, if you want something, if you know, hey, this is going to be on the table and I want to get it done, start looking locally, state
Mhm.
level, and all that other stuff, because the president doesn't make the decision. He
Mhm.
might sign
They
off
can
on
only
it,
do but so
but
much.
those are the people who make the decision. He has to go to them to get their vote. So your student loans, as I said before, it didn't really work out. Why? Because they would not pass it.
Mhm.
So when people think like, well, those other, like, it matters. Who you put, who your DA is, matters. You know what I'm saying? Who your Congress people are, matters.
Learn about the three branches. Didn't they do that in
Didn't
I'm a Bill? What was that? What was that?
Schoolhouse Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. Didn't they teach about the three branches of government back then? People don't know how the three branches work.
No, like you got to remember, like the world has gone in a different. I think for me personally, just looking at the way things are now, I think the idea, or not even the idea, Donald Trump getting in office changes things far beyond like the first term, changed
Yeah,
things far beyond
Oh yeah.
just politics. Because now it was just like, I think there was an increased sense of entitlement, an increased sense of, I don't need to be qualified to do things anymore. I don't have to look into things anymore. There's no more like the requirements no longer need to be met.
yeah. I
So
feel like
people
if he
just
gets in
don't know
office
stuff
again,
anymore.
the minute that he's elected is, you ever see them movies and it'd be like, whoa, and you know they just start laughing and be like,
Like
whoa.
imagine you in like China and you watching the election stuff happen in America, and then you see Hillary Clinton, President, you see Donald Trump, Independent Party, these nuts. Like, what would you think about that country? Like, if you're in China and you're looking at that, you just looking at that joint like,
They
look at these
disrespectful
people.
over there.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you would never see something
People,
like that
no, but
somewhere else.
there were people who actually wrote in these nuts
You know what I'm saying?
on their
Like,
ballot.
Weirdly enough, and this might be a polarizing statement, I think we as black people need something like Trump getting elected back in office for us to, like, not even just Trump getting back in office. I think we need like a culturally traumatic thing to happen,
For us to
us
see
to get
that.
back to that level of aggression that we were at. Because think about what you said, Ma. Women or black women got the right to vote at what time period? The 1960s. Think about what was going on, who was around during the 1960s.
Mhm.
That's probably when we were most effective as a people.
Remember, we were talking about how polarizing the 1960s were, and
But
everything that happened
just
in the
think about
1960s.
just the mentality of our culture during that time.
Mhm.
Black nationalism has been diluted over the past however many decades.
Mhm.
We're too comfortable, right? Huey Newton was driving around with a book regarding what his rights were if he got pulled over.
Mhm.
Political education courses.
Mhm.
Who's doing that right now? And he was younger than I was when he was doing it. Not like people were mobilizing because of the urgency to do so. The fire was tangible,
Mhm.
right? It was in your face during that time, so you couldn't escape it even if you wanted to. Now we're too comfortable. Unless
But
it's a blue
like
slip.
I told you the other day, how there were women that were leading the charge during the civil rights movement, and they were pushed to the back by a lot of men because they were just like, no, a woman can't lead the movement. But black women have always been at the forefront of all types of change. And the fact that we didn't get the right to vote until 1965, we helped white women get the right to vote in the 1920s. We was behind our men in the 1870s. but we couldn't vote until a century later?
My prayers that people don't sit and that they use their voice and use their vote. Since Taylor Swift's post, 338,000 people have gone to vote.gov to register.
Bunch
So
of-
Listen, if
bunch
so
of-
no. I'm not
happy about that.
saying that to say that it will go either way. What
Just
I'm
people
saying
being
people-
galvanized.
right. I mean, it's sad that they had to wait for Taylor Swift. That's my right. I mean, but that is a different.
Everybody needs somebody they can look up to.
That's a different show. That's a different topic. But we have days left. Let's do what we need to do. people.
Listen, everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. The last one is the light one. The crowd size at rallies.
Really? Are we really
Ain't nothing to
gonna
unpack there.
talk about that? I mean,
That's what matters to him.
she right no, but she did it
'Cause
on
she-
purpose. She knew it would get him riled up, and as
He never recovered after that.
no, because as soon as she said it, he went into being angry man, and was that for
And
the
this-
rest of the.
Former president.
This muscle fusser over here,
For the rest, she knew
and that
she was
she's paying people to go to her rallies.
She baited him.
He took it.
He took it. That's it.
That's it. That is it.
That's it.
Yeah, I
So
think for me, man, honestly, my whole takeaway from this, from the conversation, from the debate, from kind of just the way things are right now, just looking at the way, it's got to start somewhere. Like, and
that's why
just-
if Taylor's the catalyst for people,
and even if you think of her statement, as I said before, it's about what matters to people, because ain't nothing in that statement that she made about economic nothing, because money don't matter to her.
no,
But abortion matters, cybersecurity matters, things like that matter to her. So she's choosing this side. I think people can pull some stuff from that in the regards to like, yeah, what matters to you? Like, I'm definitely like, I align more with Democrats on certain things, obviously, than Republicans. But for me, I just tell folks all the time, you got to listen to people speak and then make your decision. So if you fall in the middle, you just got to see what it is. Obviously, I'm not down with Trump at all. You know what I'm saying? That's just, can't really trust it. But he also doesn't align with a lot of the things that I'm doing. Yeah, they might be, hey, everybody should, as Kamala said, this nigga talking about me taking guns. Nigga, I got guns. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just.
she did. She did say I got guns. She did.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just, folks just got to start somewhere, man. And again, whether it's from the ground up, just understanding the way things, again, just understand how things work to the best of your ability so you can understand how to better move through it. Because if you don't know how to move, you're just going to be lost every year with the stuff that's going on. And you ain't never going to you ain't getting to reform. You ain't getting to replace. You ain't getting nowhere with nothing. You know what I'm saying? There's a
You're gonna
reason
be
why a lot of
pin
those
the tail on the
outspoken
donkey.
people, you know, who are governors or trying to be governors and trying to be congressmen and all this other stuff, the Gary Chambers out there, states, like, there's a reason why they're not getting further out there, because they care about things genuinely. So people are going to keep them down. So it's up to us to go and vote in all the elections. You got to play the hand that you dealt. You know what I'm saying? And you got to start somewhere. You got to make your imprint somewhere that you can. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of people in the world feel like, yeah, it doesn't matter what I do. if you do nothing, that matters too. So you gotta start somewhere.
And you can't just vote. Then once you vote and they're in, then you have to make sure that you are holding them accountable to what they said that they would do. So are you at their town halls? Are you writing them and speaking with them and sending emails? And it's just not the vote, it's the things that you do afterwards.
And I'm gonna say something that Chris said a long time ago. You gotta get your news from somewhere other than Instagram and Twitter, people. All right. Like,
Chris did
and it's
say
funny,
that.
like I'll see mad stuff on IG, and
Chris
before
did
I
say
even
that.
send it to people, I just start fact checking Google
I
because I'm just like, yo,
fact check
I'm
it.
not passing
Let
Yeah.
me
along.
see. Let me see how accurate this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, we gotta get. I need everybody to go out there and get the book COINTELPRO. Just read that.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
All
People
right,
don't
read that.
understand. People don't understand the J. Edgar Hoover and his. Okay.
That's another show.
Another
Black
story.
skin, white faces. Check it out.
Everybody gave their takeaways. Chris, you gave your takeaway?
Chris didn't. Read.
Huh?
Read.
Read. That's right. And
But wait, not just
Think about that.
read things that you know are factually true, because like they'll read the posts about people eating dogs and say, oh yeah, that's the truth.
Let me rephrase. Read books,
Yeah, okay, thank you.
preferably textbooks,
Yeah, okay, thank you.
preferably
and
autobiography.
even when you do read with understanding and know who the author is.
Right.
Google or research the author, because sometimes the author ain't all the way.
Mhm.
So you got to make sure you read stuff that is factual.
That's what I said. Wait, don't just say read.
You got to read with understanding.
And you ain't even gotta read anymore. You listen to the book on
I
Spotify.
know.
Yeah, that's
you
me. That's
You get
me.
Audible. You get Audible.
They got audio books. Be like, isn't this just like an audio book? In my mind, is a podcast.
And ain't nobody eating dogs
And
out
that's why
here.
people can't read anymore. They be like, yeah, I read the book. No, you didn't. You listened to it. It's not the same.
You got to go through the pages of the book.
People don't understand. People don't understand that knowing how to read and write is a dying breed. You read people's text messages and you just like, how did you graduate high school?
I was actually reading
Elementary.
something the other day that there was a statistic that came out that said, I can't remember if it was Baltimore, like the reading level for I think high school students, they said at least like 60% of them couldn't read and write effectively, like for their grade level.
Mm.
And that's
And
sad because everybody
I'm not saying anything
texting.
bad about audiobooks, but to me, like as crazy as it might sound, you got to have these kids read out loud in class again. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't listen to like, you know what I'm saying? Hey Eddie, stand up and read paragraph one.
Get the cane.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like everything. Yo, have you seen the new like grading rubrics? Yo, a 68 is a B.
What?
80, like an 80 is an A now.
Never when I was in school.
Like in a lot of public, it's not like across the board, but in a lot of schools, they're changing. Like
They
it's
changes. They
insane.
change. That tells you all you need to know between China and America. China, they out here learning STEM,
My
all
Yeah, they
kinds
grandmother
of
learning
stuff.
STEM,
when I brought
kung
home
fu,
at 85.
learning how to cook. So they building mini elite machines over there, and everybody over here is worrying about their pronouns.
Bye. So okay, So, nobody's eating cats and dogs. That's number one. And just so we ended off right, we want to pay homage to James Earl Jones and Frankie Beverly, who have just transitioned into
Rich Homie
the
Quan.
Oh,
Rich Homie Quan.
yeah.
Oh my God, he was only 34 years old. Like,
There was somebody else.
black men that are losing their lives. You know, obviously, James Earl Jones was 93. Frankie Beverly, he was up there,
77, I think.
77. But that's technically still young and now, you know. But Rich Homie Quan, 34 years old, passed away in his home. You know, we send prayers and love out to his family because it's just horrible.
Take care of yourselves, people.
Yeah. I would say go to the doctor, but
Start by reading the labels.
yeah. That's honestly why I want to grow my own stuff. But anyway, that's another conversation.
Large disclaimer: natural flavors are not natural.
So everybody, don't forget to subscribe for more updates on the 2024 election and more. And hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of this historic race. Share your thoughts and comments below and let us know what you think. And stay tuned for more in-depth analysis and coverage leading up to the election. As always, we want to thank our Melanin Movement cast, Noe, Chris, Shauna Dawn, I'm Kaya, and Little Ro. Thank you everyone for watching. Until next time, we love you.